Player 1. Time. Player 2. Activation. Level 1.
Good evening, everyone. It is 8 o'clock and it is Monday. It is time for the Total Evercade Podcast. I hope everybody is all good. There's lots and lots and lots of things to get going. Oh, yes, episode 7, Ryan. Sorry, yeah, we've got to get that in there. Episode 7. We've been about as regular as clockwork with this, which is great. So, yeah, like I say, we've got lots to cover. So let's do a quick round the table. We've got our usual panel of people in. We have Mr. Blunners.
Hello.
We have Mr. Ryan, who's just taking a swig of beer.
Hello, everyone.
Perfect opportunity to introduce you there. And as always, we have our guest of honour, Mr. Derek Sir Top and Hat. How are we doing?
Good evening.
Everybody all good?
Yeah, good. Excellent. Sun shining. It's all good.
Exactly. Sun is shining. Weather is sweet. Makes you want to move them dancing feet. Okay, so let's jump straight into the first topic, which, as always, latest news and what have you been playing? So, Mr. Blunners, what have you been playing lately?
So, a certain game came out on another console, so I've been mainly stuck into that. But I have been playing the game of the month, and we're going to be bringing that up later.
Yep.
So that's the main Evercade related thing I've been playing over the last 2 weeks. So
Okay.
I would rather keep that till when we talk about that certain Thunderpaw.
Okay, we can swing back to you then when we get to our next topic in a moment. Then, so Mr. Ryan, what are you currently playing?
Well, I went all the way back to Interplay Collection 1, which I believe is a vastly underrated cartridge. For some reason, a lot of people don't like it. And I don't understand why. So I played some Earthworm Jim, which is very difficult. But I love the second level. It's just weird and random and pretty gross.
Hell level.
Yeah, and you just hear like random screams every now and again. It's like, what the hell is going on? But it's that game alone is a cartridge seller. So for people to say, oh no, it's not a great cartridge, I don't understand it, because Earthworm Jim to me is awesome. And also I've played some Clay Fighters as well. And again, I know that's an acquired taste and people don't really like it, but there's something I like about Clay Fighter. The artistic design of the characters, I think is, for that time, it was an era, wasn't it, where a lot of games were going into that sort of clay model, semi-realistic approach to games. So yeah, I've been playing that. Helga is still my nemesis on that game, and she gets you in that sort of like bear hug, and your energy bar just goes zoop. But yeah, so I've been playing those two games really. I've just thought I'd go back to them. I played some Clay Fighter with my daughter as well. Who's 8 years old, so got her into it. She quite likes it. The character, that's the thing with a game like that. The character designs are so good, even now, I think, to stand up. That she's like, oh yeah, I want to be Helga. I want to be the snowman. I want to be, because they still look good. So yeah, that's basically what I've been playing. And Game of the Month, which obviously we will get to shortly.
Excellent. You can't go on. We'll get to my thingy of the month in a bit. I've been doing something a little bit similar to you, Ryan, but for a slightly different reason. But so Mr. Derek, what have you been playing lately?
Well, yeah, I've been tucking into the game of the month, of course, Thunderpaw by PSCD Games, or Green Ghost if you're on Twitter. Fantastic game. Lots of nice little hidden bits, like hidden weapons you can find. This was originally scheduled for Indie Heroes Collection 2, but unfortunately, due to the whole Russian-Ukraine issue, we've had to wait till Collection 3, but at least it has come. And one I was very much looking forward to. So yeah, I'm just glad it's here. Really.
Yeah. Excellent. Has anything else been taking your fancy, or like Blunners, have you been just really stuck into Game of the Month?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I've been pretty heavily stuck in. There's a couple of different endings, so yeah, it's definitely worth doing the different difficulty levels.
Excellent.
How many games have you completed now? To top of the hat.
About 275. Yeah. So yeah,
Just about 225, nearly 300.
Yeah. We'll climb up to that over the next couple of months. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Amazing. You've got a little check sheet.
Yeah, value for money.
Yeah.
Done that one. Yeah.
100%. 100%.
So I have been continuing with my Hours Awakening. I don't get to plow quite as much time as I would like to into it, so I am grateful that I can do a sort of pick up and put down with it. So I'm still going through that. Accidentally loaded Cathedral the other week, and now I'm very, very interested in getting stuck into that straight away afterwards. I love the look of that game. It feels like a mashup of like Castlevania meets Ghouls and Ghosts, or Ghosts and Goblins, or Super Ghouls and whichever version of Ghosts and Goblins you play. So I've been playing quite a lot of Hours Awakening, and I went back to Interplay 2 purely for Earthworm Jim 2, which is a game that I have not put in a huge amount of time in over the years. It's not something I've got as much nostalgia for as I do for, say, the original Earthworm Jim. And I was watching AVGN the other night, and he had an Earthworm Jim episode, and it just made me, I need to go through and mission Earthworm Jim 2, which is incredibly difficult, incredibly challenging in times. There's that level with the cows, and you've got to carry them and put them in the teleporters or something in the right order. And if oh my god, that got a bit frustrating.
That brings back bad memories. That does.
It's still a good game. It's still a good game, but it's not built like the first one for me, I'm afraid. And then hopefully Earthworm Jim 3D will never be released on anything else, because that is a terrible game.
They need to release it on Evercade.
Earthworm Jim 3D.
Yeah, because then you've got the complete Earthworm Jim collection, haven't you? And you get Clay Fighter 33 and a third. Is that the third one? Is it 30? No, 64. Is it 33 and a third?
Yeah.
So, and then you've got Earthworm Jim on that as well.
Yeah,
you've got Earthworm Jim on the Game Boy Color.
Yes.
So yeah, there's an Earthworm Jim there, and obviously they've got the Mega CD version as well.
Yeah, the Mega CD one is the one, isn't it? Really, that's meant to be the superior version with the soundtrack and everything. Well, it's running on a disc, isn't it, for starters? So that's definitely going to be a good start. But
wasn't number 4 in development for a certain console beginning with A?
Yeah, there was indeed. Yeah,
I'd love to see that on Evercade.
There was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty far along. They'd have to slightly change the controls. But yeah, I don't see, why waste all that effort? Why not bring it? Yeah.
Completely agree. So with that, let's move into the latest news. So who would like to kick off what the latest news is? Because I don't want to jump ahead and get to things out of topic range.
I don't think there's really been much, to be honest, since we were last here. Obviously, we've got the showcase on the 31st of May, which I think's going to be it is going to be a big announcement, isn't it? We're going to get a lot of news, a lot of information at that point. So things in the world of Evercade that I've seen have been fairly quiet. I don't know if Sir Top Hat's seen anything on Twitter that's
yeah. Also, don't forget when you downloaded this current Game of the Month Thunderpool, you also got button mapping. So before you go into the game, obviously you've got the little bit that says about your current save. There's the little dots next to it. Click on there and then click on Edit Controls. So if anybody was keen for that, then yeah, that was something that was added.
And is that for specific games, or is that for like all games?
The only ones I've played recently and changed any controls on were arcade games. I haven't actually done any sort of, other than Thunderpool, any console gaming. So yeah, I've changed controls on a number of arcade games that just suited.
Yeah.
Why is it only a beta at the moment? What's going to be the difference between a beta and the final release?
Oh, yeah, I'm not quite sure why they did that exactly. It does seem a bit odd, but yeah, maybe they've got a final implementation that we'll see down the line.
Mm-hmm. Exciting, yeah, because there's definitely a couple of games. I can't remember. Oh, he quickly scans the collection. I can't remember now. There was definitely a game, and I thought the controls are fine, but it's like the jump button and the run button were just around the wrong way for me. So the fact that that's there now is great.
There's a game on Indie Heroes too. The one, the stone. What's it? Is it Crow Stone Maiden? I can't think what it is.
Oh yeah, Ira the Crow Maiden.
Yeah, I find the jump buttons in the wrong place on that. So and even like you've got options to move it, and it's still in the wrong place for me. So the button mapping on that will be perfect, because it's just where you're used to, isn't it? Where you expect jump to be, and I always press the button for the blooming special move on that game when I've wasted it like immediately because the buttons aren't where I expect them to be. So yeah, it'll be helpful for that game, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okie dokie. So sliding quite nicely now that Blunners can talk about it into our next topic, which is Thunderpaw, the new game of the month. So this replaces Thingy Dodo. What was it?
Donut.
Donut Dodo. Yeah,
which was fantastic. And
Brilliant.
yeah, so it's been a busy weekend for me. I've been away for the weekend, so I haven't managed to get Thunderpaw actually on my Evercade yet, which is dreadful behavior. So I am going to be relying heavily on you guys to inform me as to what it is about. So Blunners, I'll let you run with Thunderpaw. What has your experience of the game been so far?
So I had a quick go. I say quick go. It ended up being about 4 hours in the end. But and I ended up live streaming it on the channel as well. But yeah, when I first played it, I didn't really know what to expect. But it just had me hooked. I absolutely loved it. It's so good. I went around to collecting all the bones, trying to find the little canisters, upgrading, like making sure you get your blue to upgrade your weapon, but learning, like, because when you first start to shoot, it doesn't really have much of not much distance on your shot, and then obviously the more enemies you start to kill, you can then start to upgrade the shot. Then you can upgrade your weapons later on. But yeah, it just had me hooked. It's just you have to get used to the control. So, and it works perfectly on. I played mine through the VS, and then obviously I live streamed it through the VS last night.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, before I knew it, it was gone. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I thought, yeah, I better go to bed because and then so I didn't get to the end though. I haven't got to the end, but because what happened was I was playing it and I was loving it that much. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have to stream this. So then I've come in here to try and get it all working and streaming, and yeah, and then that's when. So I basically didn't want to carry on from where I was. I wanted to make sure I started from the beginning.
Yeah.
So if your parents, your family's been taken from you by these evil like animals, and you're having to like try and get your family back, basically. So your classic platform, but no, some really good flat platforming. Like just the music, the soundtrack is it's brilliant. Yeah, I literally for the Indie Heroes 3 with these two games so far. It's already a must. It's so good. It doesn't really matter what else comes because these two games alone sell it for me. Either way, I was getting it anyway. But yeah, it's so good.
I mean, look at that as artwork.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, the artwork. You have to it's just getting used to now a little boss. So it's kind of like it sets you up like your Mario 3 kind of showing you what level you're on, and then at the end there's a boss. There's a little boss battle of each world. But yeah, so I loved it. Absolutely loved it, and the fact that like it managed to pull me away from a certain Zelda game as well, and all I wanted to do is play this instead. It's really good.
Excellent. So let's go to Mr. Derek. How has your experience of Thunderpaw been? What do you make of it so far?
Yeah, I mean it's an excellent little platform game. depending on the difficulty level, like if you play normal, you won't get to see the full ending. But if you play hard, then you'll not only get to see the full ending, but you'll also open up another world, which is Lava World. So yeah, so lava fun. So it's definitely, definitely worth the effort in that one. And as I say, don't forget when you're collecting those gems to power up your guns, depending on which gun you want to power up, you need to switch it to that gun when you collect the gems. Otherwise, you'll end up just powering up one gun and not the other two. And depending on the boss battle, they're all beaten actually a lot easier by certain guns. So if you learn to master them all a little bit, then as you go to face those bosses, you can actually take them out very, very quickly and easily if you know what you're doing with the right weapon. So yeah. Lots of practice required, but yeah, it's definitely worth it. And as Blunners said, the soundtrack is awesome. So yeah, it's right up there for me with Indie Heroes Collection 3. And yeah, a rightful place for a good Mega Drive game. So yeah, and I love the little overworld map because I'm a big fan of that in games like Super Mario. So it's always nice just to see it sort of laid out and you know how far you've got to go to get to the boss. And yeah. So plenty of little hidden things as well to try and discover. So yeah, you've got to collect these little green canisters as well, which will give you an extra continue. And also you've got to collect little bones as well. And if you collect all the bones on the stage, it'll tell you how many there are, like 25. And if you manage to collect them all, then once those bones reach 50, you'll gain an extra life. So much needed in some stages.
Excellent stuff. I mean, I'm just looking at because obviously I've yet to play it, but the graphical style it just seems to suit the Evercade like down to the ground. It's very much, I think in the past we've sort of said these are the sorts of games that this system is going to absolutely shine with. It's great to have, little collections of all these other things, but this is the sort of thing that I think that the Evercade is sort of made for, really, being able to play all these, modern retro games on a really cool little handheld or the VS or and have them in this old school format. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying this one out. Ryan, have you managed to get in there with it?
I have, and I've played it. I agree with what Blunners and Top Hat said. As soon as I fired up the game and I saw the map, it took me back to Super Mario 3. I like that. Like overlay what you work your way along to the boss. I did find getting the gun I had to get used to because the range of it's not that great to start with, but obviously as these guys are saying, you can level up that. And so yeah, I was getting hit by the enemies quite a lot early on. But I think with more practice I'll obviously be better at it. I am going to invest some time into it. I think it's a really good game that we're getting. We've had 2 really good games on this Indie Heroes collection, and I just hope they haven't peaked now and it's all downhill from here. I really hope that I hope we don't. What's that game that I really dislike in Indie Heroes 2, the John Rue one? I hope we just don't get another game like
Gladius.
That. Yeah, Gladius. you can't go from these 2 to Gladius. There's no comparison. But that face says it all. So Top Hat.
He might be back for Collection 3. Yeah, you've got to treat him kindly.
Yeah, well, John Rue, obviously, Quest Arrest is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I really enjoy that game on Indie Heroes 1, but I can never even remember what it's called. Gladius, is it? Yeah, it's just not my favourite game, I'll be honest. But I found the controls on Thunderpaw really good, really responsive. Like you say, Mega Drive game. So yeah, really good. Really looking forward to investing some more time into it.
Yeah,
definitely over the coming about 3 weeks before we get the 3rd game.
Yep, Gelatinous. There you go.
Gelatinous. That's it.
Gelatinous. That's the one.
How you pronounce it? Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. I mean, I really just after sort of hearing you guys talk about it, seeing the images on the website, I genuinely can't wait to get stuck into this. If it's,
I think you'll love it, Ollie. I think you'll really get on with it. Like once you start to learn, like where to be placed when you're landing on certain blocks and the platforms and that.
Yeah,
I think you'll really like it.
it looks like it ticks many boxes. You know, I'm a big fan of that sort of gameplay style, certainly that art style as well. I think we've said it a couple ago. You know, things like Hunt Down and Blazing Chrome and all that kind of stuff. This definitely sort of sits quite nicely in that. So, yeah, definitely can't wait for that. So, I think probably the one that will probably cause maybe much discussion, and please do get involved in the chat as well in some of these discussions and see what you think. So, sliding into the next topic, which is going to be all to do with the Evercade showcase next week, and the first topic that we're going to discuss with this is, what do you want? What would you like to see from the showcase next week? Now, Derek may have to be a little bit more candid with what he says, because there's a part of me that thinks he knows quite a lot about what's coming next week. So anything anybody says, we're going to have to keep close eyes on Derek and see whether there's any sort of what are they called, like micro expressions, which gives anything away. But I don't think they will. I think he's too clever for this. So let's go to Ryan. Ryan, what do you want to see from the showcase next week?
It'd probably be easier for me to tell you what I don't want to see rather than what I want to see, but
we'll get to that. We're going to get to that.
We will get to that. So I ideally want to see a good wrestling game on Evercade. I don't know whether that exists outside of the WWE games, whether there's anyone knows a license holder that holds a really good. I know Fire Pro Wrestling is. I don't know who the developer of is that. I don't know who the developer of that is, but something like that would be really cool. There was a Game Boy Advance version of that game.
Yeah,
so that'd be really good if we could get that on Evercade. I'd also like to see a new Football Manager game like Premier Manager 98 on the PlayStation 1. So that would be a Gremlin Collection 2. So that would be something I would like to see. And I'd also like to see, and I don't think it's going to happen, but I would like to see a Capcom Arcade Collection cartridge with a game called Capcom Sports Club, which I have played a lot on emulators in the past. And I think it's one of those games that goes under the radar a bit because you've got four mini games on there, like tennis, certainly got tennis and football. So I think it's like 4-a-side football. But that would be a really smart game to get on there. And then obviously people always talk about Neo Geo. So that would be good if we could get Neo Geo some really good fighting games as well. So yeah, that's what I would ideally like to see, just big name licenses on the Evercade to get more eyes on the product, I would say.
Okay, interesting. Let's go to Mr. Blunners. What would you love to see? What do you want? And I'm presuming we're going with ideals in this as well, aren't we?
I think Ryan has covered quite a lot of stuff really there. But one thing I would love to see, I know they already work on it, like your 8-bit does, but I'd love to have like officially licensed, like an arcadey kind of stick. Because I think especially with them arcade games we're playing on VS, like we have spoken about this in a previous like Evercade podcast before, but I do think like something like that would be ideal. Also, like Ryan was saying, your big hitters, obviously they've done a bit of a deal with Capcom. I would love to see some of them ones transfer over so you can play it on a bigger screen, especially now I'm getting old and that small screen's hurting my eyes. But no, also I think we've spoken before about like, I don't want to get down the rabbit hole before like I do with my amiibos, but I'm sure we'll be getting some sort of like kind of like like I've got here with the Mario. We're not that big, but I reckon they'll be like doing some sort of like Earthworm Jim, or like they already do like a Flea kind of thing. I think you'll be getting some like memorabilia. And I know Ryan wants that travel mug as well, so maybe another travel mug for Ryan. But yeah, and also get to see what this new branding and the new and everything that like just to see what's going to come out. So yeah, this Super Fun Tech, or it's called. Called Mega Tech now, is it? But yeah, I'd like to see what they're actually going to bring and what that actually entails. I think that's going to be the main focus. But yeah, that's one of the main things for me.
Yeah.
Remember, with the travel mug, you've just reminded me, the first person to post a picture of themselves with the travel mug,
Oh,
a
yeah,
legitimate picture,
yeah.
not a Photoshop picture, which someone's already done, holding that travel mug.
This is it. It's
and
the see-through edition.
and posts it in the Evercade Hangout Facebook group, I will send you a voucher for a coffee shop of your choice in the UK. So yeah, do post that picture. The first person to do it, I will send you a Starbucks, Nero, Pret Manger, Coffee Number One, wherever you buy your coffees from, I will send you a voucher to go and get that mug filled up with your favourite drink from that coffee shop.
I mean, what a deal! You can't
It
beat
is.
that.
What a prize! You can't beat that prize,
that.
can you? What a great
No.
prize!
I feel like I'm cheating going to Derek now and saying, Derek, what would you want from the showcase? But if we go with your ideals, so things in your mind that you think that would be just fantastic for Evercade as a brand or on the system, what would you go for if you could reach out?
If I could reach out, in all fairness, I'd bring Namco.
Good shout.
Obviously, we've had those 2 original cartridges. I understand it's not Namco's problem. They're happy to license. They're happy to license the carts. They're happy to do arcade and console cartridges. It's Blaze that apparently at the moment can't afford the license.
Right.
So I understand. So yeah. So the big one for me would obviously be Namco. I would love that. I'd love to get some Pac-Land on there. I'd love to have some Ridge Racer. Get some of those big hitters. We're moving into year 4 now, obviously, and this falls on the anniversary. So yeah, I think people that have been crying out for the last 4 years for the Capcoms on physical cartridge to have some Konami and things like that. I really do think they need to hit it out the park here. It's so important.
Yeah.
I don't know what to suggest. I mean, let's just say they reveal the entire timeline. Is there any point to that? Why would I want to know what's coming out in December when I can't even pre-order it till October?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
I think there's a lot of questions, and I think that the Blaze are really good. You can't come at me with Mega Cats 3 and something like that. I need something there that's the golden egg, something that's got me reaching, and I don't want anything blocked like obviously the Capcom games were with the EXP. So again, I don't want anything like that. I want it to be community friendly and available to run on all platforms. So yeah. I think there's a lot of things, but yeah, obviously I would have loved an Namco collection, but I appreciate that's not a possibility. But yeah, hopefully there's something up their sleeve there that they're going to surprise us all with. And I'll take the Capcom games on a physical cartridge. To be fair, I'm happy to do that. So
that would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
Yeah, bring a big bang. I mean, I would imagine. I don't know. I mean, this is volume 1, so there's a few volumes to go. So maybe they're going to reveal in stages. Perhaps we'll see 4 cartridges this time. Perhaps we'll see like Sydney Hunter, perhaps, and perhaps we'll see something like the Klager Vision. Maybe that will be something to accompany it. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, something like that would be pretty good.
Yeah, excellent.
Do you reckon they could do like a Nintendo and be like, "Oh, and it's out next week"? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If only, yeah.
I mean, that'd be amazing.
That would be phenomenal, wouldn't it? Because there's every now and then a company does that, and it's sort of going off on a tangent ever so slightly, but sticking with that idea that Blunners had. Like, I love the first movie Cloverfield. It's one of my. I was banging to the campaign online and trying to figure out what it was, and got Slusho t-shirts and all this kind of stuff. I was really, really just thoroughly enjoyed that pre-ramble of what it was. So when the second one came out, that was also very good. And then the third one, Netflix just dropped a trailer at the Super Bowl, and they were like, and it can stream it now. You're like, fuck, what? I've got to go to work. So that sort of thing would be amazing. You just have this really big cartridge, this really big idea, and you're like, and it's available now. Like that would be great.
Hang on a minute, there's a third Cloverfield film.
Yeah, it's called the Cloverfield Paradox. It's not great.
Oh, I can't wait.
Which is maybe why they announced you could stream it now.
What's the second one where the people were like underground? That's the second one, isn't it?
Yeah,
where they're
Cape
living in that like
Cloverfield
bunker. Yeah, that was quite cool. I like
that. Was very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yes.
good news is obviously from the announcement that pre-orders will practically go up the day after, and because obviously the next 2 cartridges are due at the end of July. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think I've said it 1,000 times. Someone say, what am I going to say? What's the one thing I would love more than anything?
Simpsons arcade game.
Yeah. And I would pay through the nose for that. I'd pay 30 quid a cart for that one game, 100% without a doubt. I would drop that money on that. So just throwing that out there into the ether. There's been some great suggestions in the chat. Things like a WonderSwan collection. That would be super cool, because I don't have a WonderSwan. I have no intention of getting a WonderSwan because some of those games are just ridiculous money. So to be able to play that on some sort of physical cartridge would be very, very cool.
Yeah, screen's ideal for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see some sort of little horror collection. Maybe try and get some really old, obscure, maybe NES horror titles. What's the one that only came out in Japan on the Famicom? It's the one that inspired Resident Evil. I think it's called Sweet Something, and you can get like a UK cracked version of it because it never came out in this country. But to have like an officially licensed version of that translated into English would be pretty cool. Something like Alien versus Predator from the Atari Jaguar as well would be pretty cool. An Atari Jaguar collection of some sort, because let's face it, the consoles not great. So to be able to experience some of those games without having to pay, £90 to £100 for the cartridge would be fantastic.
Well, some of those games are on that Atari 50 collection. You've
They
got some Atari Jaguar games. So surely, they wouldn't be that much to license for Evercade. I wouldn't have thought.
No. It'd just be a case of approaching the company that did the emulator to run those on. Yeah. And just make sure that, you get it running as smooth as they did on the Atari 50, and there's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, would I buy the Atari 50 for my PlayStation? Probably not. Would I buy it for Evercade? Yeah. I probably would. It feels like it would sit nicely on there. But yeah, I was just flicking through the chat there. What's someone said there? Yeah, another Atari Lynx, PC Engine. Yeah, PC Engine would be cool. Like a PC Engine collection of some sort. That would be pretty cool.
Definitely.
Some sort of Sega collection would also be pretty cool. Having some Virtua games, some Virtua Striker or something, because I don't really play football games, but Virtua Striker's kind of cool. Sega Bass Fishing and a bit of Crazy Taxi. Yeah. That would be great. That would be really good fun to have some cool Sega games on there as well. So, everyone's got some really good suggestions there for what we want it to be. And it actually feels really great to be talking about something that's coming next week that everybody's actually excited about.
It seems months since. Yeah,
and there's so you'll get like the roadmap. Sometimes it will say these are the next 2 carts. There's going to be another X number of carts and little teasers here and there, which is good to know. But this feels like a genuine, it's called a showcase, isn't it? And this does actually feel like there is a genuine showcase. There's something coming. There's something that's going to be really interesting and excited to be excited for. But I also agree with Blunners. Some little figure, a toy, or a little statue of some sort. I think that's on the horizon.
Do you reckon it's going to go along like the old Nintendo one? They're going to be like, have their own little clicking and goes to the next one.
There'll be some sort of Evercade transfer. Yeah, it's got to be done. Okay, so with everything that we want it to be, what don't we want it to be? So let's go to Derek first this time. Derek, what would you be sort of slightly more unhappy with?
I want to see some fresh new developers shake things up a little bit. So I'm not really looking for too many sequel carts. I gather they haven't done a second Team 17 at the moment, so that wouldn't be one that would be on the line. But yeah, I just want to see some new fresh blood, attract some new people in to the Evercade platform, and I think that's the only way you're going to do it if you're going to pull out your Atari Lynx 3, your Mega Cats 3, a Pico 4, you're never going to build the demograph. So, yeah, I think it's so important. And amongst all this, and especially calling it a showcase, they need to have something to showcase here. Anybody can use that term, but at the same time, it takes ages to be this good. So let's just make sure that they have got something massive in store for us. And I don't think anybody's going to go away disappointed. But if they think they've got to wait till November to get their hands on Intellivision Collection 3, then, there might be numbers dropping off rather than building. So, yeah.
Okay. I think that's a very solid, sensible answer. Absolutely solid. Mr. Ryan, what do you not want it to be?
Well, I've written 3 things down here. I don't want any more Tate mode games. I don't want any more shoot 'em ups, and I don't want any more Intellivision games. So that is that's my. So you probably could have guessed those, but we've got so many shoot 'em up games. We need to, they're great. People, well, I don't find them great, but people love them. It's really good that we've got so many varied shoot 'em up games. Surely we don't need any more. We've got more than enough. And if they're going to release, I don't know, IRIM. Do IRIM have more shoot 'em ups? IRIM Collection 2, for example. With more shoot 'em ups. It's like, I'm not going to be buying it. I won't buy that cartridge. If we get Intellivision 3, for example, I still haven't brought Intellivision 2 because I'm still waiting to find a broken one for like £1 or something on eBay that I can just add to my collection because I will never ever play it. So yeah, that's the 3. And Tate mode, I think we've got plenty of games on EXP to keep people occupied. They've had a really big hit on those so far this year, so I don't think we need any more of those. So yeah, that's the 3 things I ideally don't want to be seeing next Wednesday.
Okay. Before we jump to Blunners, what he would not like to see, I'm sure the comment just got put onto the screen a bit earlier, but another game series that's just mentioned there from Shadow Gaming, Rampage. I don't think we've ever said Rampage before. Rampage is such an underrated series. That would be phenomenal, especially if we've got an arcade stick to play it as well.
Yeah, it'd be 3-player as well on the Versus. So yeah, be a brilliant use of the multi-tap there. So yeah,
I just wanted to bring that one up before we carried on because I thought, I don't think anyone's ever said Rampage, and I feel a little bit disappointed in myself actually for not having ever thought that before. So
yeah, it's a classic game.
That's so good.
I remember my friend having that on a Master System when I was at school and being blown away playing that. Being able to select your character was like, wow, this is just incredible.
So, Mr. Blunners, what would you like it not to be?
Well, I would hate it if they were like, here's the VS2. I'd go mad because I've literally just got one. So yeah, no more. I don't want any more like hardware. I just don't want any more hardware. I don't want them announcing that this super fun arcade cabinet. Do you know what I mean? I just want. I don't want any of that. Thanks.
Okay, so no more.
How
hardware
about a Lego version? Yeah.
We need cabbage. We need cabbage face bricks to build a Lego version of Evercade. Or no, he does Kobe now, doesn't he? He doesn't do Lego. So Kobe bricks version of an Evercade. Yeah, if he's in the chat or if he's watching this back, it'd be awesome if he could put one of those together for us.
All right, let's task Cabbage Face with that. Get on that, Mr. Cabbage Face.
Yeah, no more shooters like Ryan. I'm with Ryan in that camp as well. I'm not a great shooter up, but yeah, they're the 2. It's not for me, thanks.
Writing it down, taking the notes. We're gonna all be on the naughty list. For me, I have to agree with a couple of things that have been said there. I agree with Derek. I think it'd be nice to have no more sort of sequel carts. I think it'd be nice to plow forward with new things and see, even if it's just new retro studios or new old studios. That's fine with me. New games, that would be good. I would not be overly fussed with Intellivision 3 just yet. Probably the same with something like a Commodore 64 as well, because like I say, my nostalgia for the C64 isn't great, so I would like to be able to slowly obtain those 2 cartridges and sort of really digest that before jumping into another one. What else would I not like it to be? I don't know. Everybody's kind of covered it. I think I think I just agree with everybody. It's a handful of particular collections that we don't want more of, and just some new studios. No more sequel carts. Like, yeah, definitely not an Atari Collection 3, or is it 3? What are we up to now?
Yeah,
it would be 3, wouldn't it? So yeah, that would be my no list. I think that's what I would not like it to be. And then to round off the showcase section, what do we actually think it will be, as opposed to what we want it to be? What do we think it's going to be? And this could be proved to be quite tough. And I say tough because I have absolutely no idea. I genuinely have no idea what it could be. It's going to be a surprise either way, and I'm hoping for a good surprise. So let's go to Mr. Blunners first this time. What do you think it will be?
Well, I'm hoping it's a big hit. I really do. That's what I think. I think it is, because in fact they're bringing out a new company, they're bringing new ideas. Do you know what I mean? I'm just hoping that it's like you said in the last one. I hope it's not just like, oh, we'll now push the Evercade to the side now. Don't worry about that. But I'm hoping that it. Yes, I've built up to it. So I'm really hope it's a big hitter. So that's what I think it'll be. I think it'll be something big. Like go big, go hard, or go home. I think it's going to be. It's going to be a decent one.
Okay.
Yeah, as he keeps doing.
Yes, large.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Bit of Kevin and Perry there. Large. Okay, Mr. Ryan, what do you think it will be?
Well, so Top Hat mentioned Sydney Hunter. I think that will be announced, because I think they jumped the gun slightly on social media. I think we might get another dual cart as well. I've got no idea what it might. Final Vendetta maybe, and something else. It's just me hoping maybe more so. But I think we might get another dual cart, because we've not had a dual cart for a while. So and the 2 dual carts we've got, I think if you ask most people, they are probably 2 of easily in the top 5 Evercade. I know we've done it between us, and I would say they're easily in the top 5 cartridges.
Yep.
So I think we might get a Lynx Collection 3, possibly, only because the CEO of Evercade, Mr. Byatt, is a big Lynx fan. I'm sure I've read in the past. So I think we might get a Lynx Collection 3, and I also think we're going to get a big hitter, like a Konami, like a Capcom. I think Midway maybe. I think that's a good shout. Midway? From Phantom Fiction, because he's mentioned Rampage is Midway. Wasn't Mortal Kombat Midway as well?
It was indeed.
I don't know if it still is Midway. It's probably someone else now, isn't it?
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's owned by Warner Brothers now, I think. Yeah,
that's a
yes,
shame.
It is. Yeah, the Realm, isn't it? That produced them. That's a Warner Brother company.
But something like Midway would be pretty cool, because they've mentioned Someone's mentioned Gauntlet as well. Like on an arcade collection, because Gauntlet, I believe that was 4-player, so you'd be able to play that on VS with multiple people. So yeah, I'm feeling confident. I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be good. The logo for it looks really cool. It reminds me of the AEW kind of like paint splatter effect, which they've gone for. And I think Sean from Blaze may have had he may have been involved in the design of that, being a big wrestling fan. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm confident that it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I like the sound of that. Again, I feel like I'm cheating asking Derek. What does Derek think it would be? Because I think he knows more. So can we ask Derek that, or can Derek just sort of tease us with more?
Yeah,
excitement?
I mean, obviously, I've got wish lists the same as everybody else. And as I've said before, I'm a big Sydney Hunter fan, and I would absolutely love that to be one of the next cartridges that we pre-order, especially as we've been talking about it recently. One thing I don't like is when you have to talk about things 3 months ago and you're still waiting for the cartridges to come, and the sort of things, the excitement drains out of it. And by the time the cartridge arrives, you've almost gone past it. So, yeah, I think if it is going to be something like that, then that would be absolutely fantastic. And I would love it to be accompanied by something like a ColecoVision collection, or perhaps the VIC 20 or something like that. That would be lovely. And perhaps the next 2 carts after that. Yeah, I mean, I would totally be down with an Atari Lynx collection, especially an indie one. So something like that would be great. I think it's a lot easier to license, and yeah, who knows where they go from there? A dual cart, I think. I think we're going to see at least 2 this year. So yeah.
Yep.
A dual cart would definitely be worth it. I'd love to see something like Sam's Journey from the Commodore 64. I think that's absolutely fantastic indie game. So I think everybody would enjoy that one. And yeah, I mean, something like Final Vendetta would be absolutely fantastic if the Bitmap Bureau would consider us for that. So yeah, I mean, excellent idea there by Ryan. And you never know. I mean, I think somebody here tonight has definitely said something that could be in that showcase, but
it best not have been in television 3. It 100% better.
Okay, yeah, how about be at the end of it, right?
Yeah. Amazing. I totally agree with the dual cart idea, and I totally agree with Derek. I think it should be a Bitmap Bureau dual cart. I have no shame in hiding the amount of love I have for that studio. Yeah, Final Vendetta would be great, along with oh my god, what's the name of the game? Battle Axe. Had to look at it over there because I've got it on the PS5.
Yeah.
Battle Axe and Final Vendetta as a dual cartridge would be mega, absolutely mega for the Evercade. That would be very cool. So that would be something I think would be great. So I think a dual cartridge is a definite. I agree with everybody else. I think there is going to be at least one massive name, like one really big cartridge name, where the company will be that's a big hit, and it would be a well done one. And I think if you've got a really big one like a Konami or I know we've said Namco earlier, but if there was something like a Konami or another big Namco cartridge, I think you could then have something like Lynx 3 or something else 3, and people would be like, yeah, that's totally cool, because yep, that's fine, because I've got this big hitter coming as well. That would be absolutely ideal. And I do think there is going to be something Earthworm Jim. I don't know why. I think it was the couple of weeks ago when I was talking about selling my Earthworm Jim collection figures a long time ago, and how annoyed I am and how upset I was, and that I think where they mentioned toys specifically on that new branding, I thought, yeah, if they make an Earthworm Jim toy, that's going to be a big seller, a really big seller. So I think there will be a figure. I would say it's going to be an Earthworm Jim figure, a dual cartridge, a big hitter, and then peppering in some other little ideas maybe that they've got coming. So I'm excited.
Didn't you recently share a car journey with one of the guys from Bitmap Bureau?
We did, yeah, Mike.
Did you not ask him at all about Evercade?
Of course we did.
What did he say?
Well, he was quite tight-lipped about lots of things that we asked him. So,
we should have pulled over on like the M25 or whatever way you came back and said, look, you either answer my questions or you get out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Bitmap have got a lot on the go. Hopefully, this week, actually, this Wednesday, we will be talking to Bitmap. So we'll be able to
stream,
we can ask them live again and see if there's a way that we can get Final Vendetta and Battle Axe and everything else to come to Evercade. So yes, watch this space. He didn't.
He's in a mood. He's in a mood today.
It's too much sugar and too much pepper crisps for him. That's what it was. He's
too many chili crisps at 7 o'clock this morning, I think.
Dunking Frazzles in his tea as well. Ooh.
Yeah, that's an acquired taste.
Okie dokie. So do we want to let's go to the starred bits now. If anybody has more questions, do throw them in the chat. We'll go through a couple of them now, because I know Mr. Jarvis from It's Much More has chucked a couple in there. So the first one from Jarvis was, did those demos that were on the cart ever get updated as the full versions?
Yes,
I'm
there was only
wondering-
one, wasn't there, on Mega Cat Studio
Yeah, that's
2?
it. Yeah, whatever it was called, Kudos Quest. No, I'm not quite sure. It was on Mega Cats 2. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it now. But yeah, it did get updated to the full version. So yeah.
You just pop it into your VS, don't you, and it updates it. That's all you need to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, sweet as a nut. Yeah, no problem.
Excellent. There's a couple from Jarvis here, so we'll do all of Mr. Jarvis's here. So, are any of us going to be going to Retcon event as Blaze Evercade are due to be there? Where is the Retcon event?
Yeah, where is it? First I've heard of it.
I've never
There's-
heard of it. I've no idea what that is.
There's definitely a couple of events happening. There's one in Manchester. St. Michelle is the lady that runs it. What's happening? What's that one called? Oh my god. My brain is just awful at the moment. I can't remember half the time what my actual
Because of
name
your
is.
age. It happens to me. I just forget things all the time. It's awful.
Yeah, we need a
Bastard.
brain training game on the Evercade.
We do, yes.
That's it, Dr.
Kawasaki's. It's not Kawasaki, was it?
Actually, you know where his name is.
That was the
Yeah.
bike Kawasaki.
That's coming. It's coming to Evercade.
Kojima, yeah.
Ollie, just
Kawashima,
play
yeah.
Russell Grant's Astrology that I got you on the
Yes.
DS for Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah.
You did a couple of years ago. Russell Grant's Astrology. Yeah, bring that to the Evercade. That would go down well. This is a good question. This is actually a good shout for a potential as well. Is do we think we'll see a Wave Game Studio dual cartridge? That could be cool. I don't know how big something like Postal is, but seeing something like Intrepid Izzy and Postal, that would be really cool. Okay, we've got two more questions there. We'll leave the questions for the minute. We'll come back to
If
those.
you like
last
Intrepid,
two.
Izzy, Triangle Face got a load of posters for that, which he picked up at OLL last year. So
Oh, sweet.
if that does come to Evercade, maybe he can give one away to someone.
Format. Thank you, Dorbs. Format is the other retro or the other gaming event that's happening. I think it's this weekend. This weekend in Manchester. Very cool. It's like it's all in a nightclub. Very, very cool. Very, very much worth people's time having a look at that. Okay, so a reminder for people that the Amiga and Pico 2 cartridges are out next week. Should we do a quick rundown of what games are on them?
Some people have already received it from Funstock.
Have they?
Some lucky people have already received it. Yeah, if they, I believe it's if they pre-ordered the C64
Wow.
and what was the last one that came out? Was you had C64
And
and
Toplan. Yeah.
Toplan 2, because they hold them back if you order like all four at the same time. And I think
Mhm.
they've just sent all four out to people.
Nice.
So they've got the Amiga and Pico 3.
Nice.
Team
So the-
17.
Yeah. So the Amiga one comes with, oh wow, Full Contact. What's that? I don't think I've ever seen that game before. Well, I've never had an Amiga either. So go on, Derek,
Yeah,
hit
it's
me
not-
with what Full
yeah, it's
Contact
not-
is. Your knowledge of these
It's
games
not
is
too bad.
amazing.
Yeah, it's a one-on-one fighter. It's not as solid as something like Street Fighter 2, but for Amiga owners back in the day, that was probably about as close as you were going to get. The hit detection is quite good, and I think it's a game that people will get into. It's quite difficult to start with, but yeah, once you get the moves down, yeah, I think you're laughing.
Okie dokie. So yeah, so we have got Alien Breed, which I think most people will know. Body Blows. Is that a wrestling game or a fighting game as well?
That's a fighting game.
Okie dokie. We've got Shoot 'em Up, especially for Ryan, Project X Special Edition.
Ooh, you love that one.
Quack, which looks like a cool little puzzle game.
Yeah,
Alien
that's
Breed
my game.
2.
Cool.
Quack, yeah. Alien Breed 2, Arcade Pool. Apparently, this is very good. I have heard that
Yeah.
the arcade pool game is actually
Yeah, I remember
It is
playing
very
it
good,
years
yeah.
ago, mate. Yeah, I remember
Yeah, it's
playing it
excellent.
years ago.
Alien Breed Tower Assault, all-terrain racing, which would be cool, a new racing game, and a bowling game, which I've also heard is also pretty good. So that looks like a pretty solid collection there. And the other one,
I
let's jump
think your
back page.
good friend Ollie Gebbs has done a review of these two cartridges.
She
so
has
if you-
indeed.
Yeah,
Oh,
so if you
check it
go
out
to
then.
Geb's 24 channel, you'll be able to see her initial thoughts on them.
Excellent.
Yeah, just to say on the Team 17 cartridge, a question I get quite a lot is obviously Alien Breed 3D. It was originally intended that would join the lineup there, but unfortunately they couldn't get it running quite as smoothly as they wanted, so that's why it wasn't included in that collection. But it's not to say
Inside
that they
knowledge.
aren't still tampering with it, and perhaps in the future, somewhere down the line, if we
Yeah.
do see a collection too, then obviously, yeah, they'd love to add it.
It's
That would
it's
be
good
cool.
to hear actually that they're not just chucking it on just because it's a game people will want. If it's not working properly, they're not going to put it
Yeah.
on there. So
There's
that's
no point with a game like that. It's dreadful otherwise.
yeah.
And yes, so the other collection that's coming, or for some people it's already arrived, is Pico Collection 3, which has 40 Winks. Was that a PS1 title? I can't remember.
Yes,
now
it
if
was indeed. Yeah, it was PS1. Yeah.
We then got a first-person shoot, Zero Tolerance, a first-person shooter on the Evercade. That is,
Yeah, fancy.
that's going to be pretty exciting. Legend of Wukong,
Yep, RPG.
Stanley: The Search for Dr. Livingston.
Yeah, actually, that's quite a fun little game, actually. And you've got a little gyrocopter that comes out of your rucksack, a bit like in Hero. So, yeah, that's quite fun to use at certain stages in the game.
Excellent. Super Bubble Pop, which looks like a really cool little puzzle game. Metal Mech, Man and Machine. Radical Bikers, and you know it's radical when it's got the K in it there as well.
Yeah, radical.
Motor City Patrol. Punch King, which looks like a really cool sort of Super Punch-Out-esque type game. And Sword of Sodan, or Sodden.
Which is dreadful.
Is it really?
Game. Well, the clips I've seen of it, it looks absolutely horrible.
What?
But it may be okay. I might be brilliant at that game. I might get it and be like, "What's everyone moaning about? This is absolutely brilliant." But what I've seen of it, she's got a sword, which doesn't really. It's not got a very big reach, and as she progresses along, people are just constantly coming from behind and in front of her. So it's it seems quite a difficult game. I've seen her have many a brutal death when I've watched people play it.
There's quite a cult following for the game, which I was quite amazed to find out. Also, we've got the Mega Drive version there, not the Amiga version. And if people want to know what the difference is, in the Amiga version, they only come from the front, whereas in the Mega Drive version, they come from the front and back. So there's also a couple of other, I think there's a couple of levels cut out in the Mega Drive version that would otherwise be in the Amiga version. But as I say, to substitute it for people coming from either side, it was quite a big game of its time because of its graphical style. And I think there's could be quite a bit of fun to be had there if you can sort of get past, as I say, the initial movements of the character, which do look a bit wooden.
Okay. Excellent stuff. So these are the the two carts that are coming. Well, it says next week, but like I say, some people have been lucky enough to have them already. So it might even be that people start receiving them, I don't know, sort of sooner than later then, which would be really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if they've already got the stocks in, I hate companies that sit on them. If you've got them, get them out into people's hands. There's nothing that'll excite people more online than if they start to receive them a bit early. So I'd urge people like Funstock, if you've got them, get them out into customers' hands now. Don't mess around, wait until the 31st, because otherwise people will be playing those carts instead of watching the showcase. So I'd say get them out into people's hands, get people excited and enjoying them. And they'll also feel like they've got something a little bit special after pre-ordering, rather than having to wait to the absolute last date because, you just couldn't be bothered to post them out, basically.
Here. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Excellent. And speaking of the actual event next week, I won't be able to join you guys, but I believe the three of you chaps are going to be watching the showcase live at 8:00, and you'll be streaming your initial live reactions to everything that is going on. So if anyone would like to do an Evercade watch along party, I guess this could be billed as the showcase watch along. do join us next Wednesday, because there's nothing better than seeing people's initial instant reactions to something, especially when it could be something mega. It could be something really cool. So please come and join these three reprobates next week for the live event. I don't believe we will be streaming the event on the screen because
We
we'll
can
get in trouble.
do.
Can we?
We can do. Yeah, I think we can stream it on the screen. We just, it'll be fine.
We'll just mute it. Yeah.
We can always cut that bit out when the video goes afterwards. We want after it's gone live, we can just cut that bit out and we'll give our thoughts after.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all
Okie dokie.
good.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work, of course. Okay, so let's finish up with the last couple of questions, which my mouse is now going all kind of stupid for. Okay, here we go. So, next question was from Lanny Pie. Which big hitter would the panel want the most? Well, it would have to be the Simpsons Arcade. That would be me. I always say it. I'm going to say it forever until it arrives on a cartridge. That would be the big hitter for me. So, Mr. Derek, what would be the big hitter you would most want?
I want some Sega on there. I'd want some Wonder Boy. I'd want some Outrun, things like that, that, you know, I can just pick up and play. So, yeah, for me, that would be a massive sign. Wonder
Boy, what a suggestion.
Yeah.
Excellent. Ryan, what would your big hitter be? What would you most want?
If I could have anything, then I would go for like THQ, get SmackDown 2. But that's never going to happen. We're never going to get a licensed Well, I'd be surprised if we ever got a fully licensed wrestling game. Sensible World of Soccer, that'd be good. I've championed that game for a long time. Sensible Soccer is good on Evercade, but everyone knows Sensible World of Soccer on the Amiga was the best version. So, yeah, if we had that fully licensed, even not fully licensed, the Xbox 360 version just changed the vowels of some of the players. So that would be quite cool.
Okay. Mr. Blunners, what would your big hitter be that you would most want?
Resident Evil 1, PlayStation 4. Oh, yes, please.
Not that dodgy director's cut that's got the funky music.
No, I want the tank controls and everything.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Even their arms, yeah. Resident Evil for me, please.
There we go. Going back a question there. So next question from Phantom Fiction. How do you guys feel about third-party accessories and controllers? I mean, personally, I have absolutely no problem with third-party accessories and controllers. Sometimes it is nice to have the official licensed ones just purely because they aesthetically normally look like they match the product quite nicely. And I'm a big fan of things looking like they all fit together quite neatly. I've got no problem with that. Derek, you all good with it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of followers that are disabled, and they actually have controllers that are done for them for their disability. So it's fantastic that they work on the verses, and it allows them to be included in the gaming community. Myself personally, yes, I would love an official arcade stick. Of course I would. Some wireless controllers, yes, please. Yeah, bring those next week, most definitely. And yeah, because I like everything in keeping. So yeah, if it can all be official, then I love it all the more. So yeah, I would definitely be up for that. But yeah, I've got no problem with people using third-party controllers. In fact, it's a very smart move by Blaze.
Yeah. Mr. Ryan?
I've already answered. I said Sensible Soccer. Oh, third-party accessories. Sorry. So I was so listening to the top hat answer. I forgot there was another question. I don't have any problem with people using third parties, accessories, or controllers. I quite like are they 16? What are the ones that look like the N64 controller?
8-bit dough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 8-bit dough. They're really smart. I like them. When I see people using them on the Evercade, I think they're quite smart. So we've got a stroke of the chin there.
Yeah, something there of interest, I can assure you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, those controllers are very, very nice. So something like that on the Evercade, official license, one of those on Evercade for the VS would be awesome. But I've got no issue with people using them there isn't an issue, is there? Because they all work on the VS. That's the whole point. So
Yep. And same for you, Mr. Blunners?
Yeah, no, don't care. It doesn't bother me. But I do like to use the controllers that are intended for that. If you know what I mean. So
yeah,
I do like to use. I do like the feel of the VS. I do like the VS controller. But like Derek said, a wireless one, yes, please. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Excellent. And then last question from Shadow Gaming UK. What about a light gun? As Switch has gotten around the problem with new TVs, Evercade could do the same for the VS. What do we think? So I went first last time. So Mr. Blunners, what do you think? Some sort of gun
Oh, it'd be
mechanic for the
amazing.
VS.
It'd be absolutely amazing. Yeah. Like if you could, but how accurate is it really? Like I remember getting the duck hunt gun and being like right on the screen and it still wouldn't work. Do you know what I mean? When you're trying to get that last bloody duck. But yeah, with like
It
one
would,
bullet. So
yeah, it would
yeah,
have
it'd
to
work.
be something sort of, I guess, not light gun esque, and just something with like a motion tracker, something,
Yeah.
just a motion tracking gun would be decent. But yeah, Mr. Ryan, what do you think? Would there be a market for it?
As long as they get decent games, if there's Intellivision light gun games, then forget about it. Not interested. But if we got like NES games, they'd be quite cool. Funny enough, I was in a pub a few years ago with a couple of my friends, and they had a few like old game systems set up, and they had a NES with the light gun, but the light gun, something must have been off with the telly, so you had to aim it at an angle to shoot straight. And I remember my mate having the gun. He was like, "How do I calibrate this?" I was like, "This was made in like 1990. There's no calibration on it. It's literally as it comes. You can't."
It's pre-calibrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he couldn't believe it that it wasn't calibrated. But yeah,
85.
if we got something like, wow, if we had like Time Splitters, that's a gun game, isn't it?
Time Crisis.
Time Crisis.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. Virtual Cop.
Point Blank.
Yeah, those type
all
of
that
games
stuff would be great.
But no Intellivision gun games. Definitely not.
Oh,
Mr. Derek, what do you think about a light gun peripheral?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to a company, I think it was a week or two ago. They've developed a light gun which works on ordinary televisions with no need for the motion bar or anything like that. The versions I saw, which were a regular light gun, a sort of what Blunners had, and also they had an upgraded version that had a recoil on it, which I was quite impressed with. I haven't had one of those since the PlayStation, and theirs was very, very good and extremely accurate. Now, that sort of gun coming to the Evercade, if they could get their pricing right, and at the moment it's awfully expensive, I would just say that, probably set you aside about £250 for the one with the recoil. So a lot of money. But I'm pretty sure if they could do a bulk deal and they could really scrutinize their costings, then perhaps, who knows? I'd love to see a pack-in deal with a cartridge and also see it supported with a few others from developers, because there's quite a lot of light gun games, right from like the Commodore 64, as I say, right through to the PlayStation. So yeah, I think there'd be some really good ones we could snag along the way.
I agree with everything everyone has said. I think that would be a fantastic little addition, especially if, like Ryan says, especially if we got the good cool games for it, and even just some of the janky ones. To be honest, some of those janky ones are good fun, but they've got to be the good fun janky ones, not the ones that are just not so good. But yeah, I'd quite like that. That'd be quite cool. Okay, well, thank you everyone for throwing in some of those questions there. There's definitely some good questions. The chat's had a lot of really good suggestions for things this evening, so thank you everyone for joining in and throwing in your 2 pence into the topics this evening. I guess we'll just have to wait with bated breath for Wednesday now and see what comes, see what happens, see what magic Blaze and Evercade and everything else is gonna bring to the table. It's gonna be an exciting time, I think. I hope.
Absolutely. I'm billing it as Hollywood or bust. They go wrong here, it could be all over. So it really is. It's that close to the wire for people like myself. Yeah, September onwards, you're going to get a new Nintendo console announced. They're going to have that Metroid Prime 4. It's going to be taking a lot of attention away. So what you need to do now is you need to seize this moment. E3 is not here. You can land yourself a nice big Evercade announcement with a couple of big bangers and really set us up on a little trajectory for the rest of the year, so that we've got some eyes on the prize. But yeah, it's theirs to lose. get it wrong, and bring in the farts in a cracker, and it's going to stink the room out. Yeah, so they really do need to have something special on it, and to bring it as a showcase and not as just an ordinary announcement. It should obviously supersede our wishes here tonight, which I think we've kept quite modest, to be honest. So yeah,
I completely agree.
Oliver Twins 2, we want Oliver Twins 2, some Amiga, some Commodore 64, and a couple of Spectrum on there. Lovely job. Excellent.
And yes, so join these three chaps live next week to see what the showcase brings and their initial thoughts and reactions as it goes. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of a discussion afterwards as well. So this is that going to be episode 8, or are we just calling that a Total Evercade special?
We'll call that a special, I think. We'll do it as a special show. And
Special.
I was going to say, everyone Wednesday night on this channel, Bitmap Bureau, they're going to be here. NintendOlly and Blunners will be on that. Do check it out, because that will be awesome. And I'm sure they will ask about the Evercade as well.
We will do. Please do join in the chat and throw the word Evercade in there, and we'll remember that, because like I said, my brain is like a leaky sponge bag at the moment. So yes, definitely do. Just thank you very much, chaps. Thank you again, everyone in the chat. It's been great fun. Certainly, in the next couple of weeks, we will be starting to promote Mr. Jarvis's and Alex's re-ups Nottingham Video Game Expo. So certainly in the next coming weeks, expect us to be chatting a little bit about that coming forward. Can't wait to start promoting that. We're going to be hosting a whole bunch of stuff on stage there, so that's going to be a really good fun event. But yeah, I think certainly from me and you guys, thanks ever so much for another very enjoyable podcast, and we shall see everybody very, very soon. So take care and good night.